Scale like a $100 million World Cup team. Now, this is the title of the edition 28 of the Exponential Blueprint. Now, as you know, the Exponential Blueprint started on the 8th of January 2025. And as of today, I'm so grateful for your support because we are trusted by 22,000 founders, investors, and C-suite executives. And it's such a pleasure to read your comment all the time. It's such a pleasure to see how many of you actually they are seeing their business transformed by this newsletter, which, as we always promise, is going to be free of charge for everyone. So you're going to be able to read it every Wednesday. And again, please don't stop really putting your comments. And by the way, don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. There are already 43,000 people who've done this. And I just can't wait to hear your comments and for you to give me your views about what we're doing for you. And now we can improve it better. So now let me dive into this edition of the Exponential Blueprint. Let me share the screen with you so we can go through the various parts. Yeah. So as we said, this is the 100 million question that really separates founders from CEO. Now, don't forget, by the way, our webinar today from Stuck to Scaling, which is going to be live on YouTube at 6 p.m. UK time or 1 p.m. Eastern time, New York time. Now, this webinar will be fully packed with value for you. And I would really be delighted to hear from you after this webinar. How you see your business going from start to scaling, or from invisible to investable, or from a low valuation strategy to a high valuation strategy. So we're going to cover the three main reasons why certain businesses scale while other businesses do not scale. So they are the three-step model for the program that started in 2017 with the University of Plymouth. Let me tell you what we cover in this particular edition. We cover the analogy between business and football. Now, as you know, football is a team sport. I mean, you can choose any other team sport you like. You may choose rugby, for example, if you like, or other basketball, or whichever other sport you like to. So what we tend to find is that after the initial startup phase, in which the business has to generate a product, has to really start a product, has to generate lifetime value for its customer, the business is then ready to scale. And in the scale-up phase, really the founder should change his or her attitude towards business. The founder needs to become a CEO effectively, and stop really playing all the roles that needs to be played in a business, and effectively creating three different leaders. Why three leaders? Because there are effectively three main goals to achieve after you scale up. Number one, sell what you produce. Number two, produce what you sell. Number three, generate cash flow. And each one of these three goals should be covered by a leader who needs to be selected by the CEO founder. So the founder effectively becomes a CEO. It becomes a bit like the football coach, and delegates really the execution of this business to these three leaders effectively. Now, how many times do we see founders that are control obsessed and they do not really do this? And that really costs them really dearly, because between 50 and 90% of the valuation of the business is determined by the structure as well as the position of the business. Now, what is the normal structure that we advocate for a business to adopt after the startup phase and during the scale-up phase? So we got the founder who becomes CEO. The founder will then recruit these three leaders. The sales leader, who is supposed to be selling, is the attacking part of the football team. Is the one who scores all the goal, but needs to receive the service from the operation leader. The operation leader is effectively the ones who ensure the sales leader has the opportunity to score goals. So it's about production, So what are you going to sell if you cannot produce? Yeah. Now, most importantly, however, you can score as many goals as you like, but if you do not generate cash flow, if you do not protect what you've achieved, then you can lose pretty much everything, which is why you need a finance leader. The finance leader is the one who effectively connects a lot better with the investor, because the investor, they need the confidence, they need the trust, they need the financial intelligence. As we know, most of the businesses unfortunately fail because of lack of financial intelligence. And this is where the finance leader is absolutely critical. Now, in larger organization, we advocate absolutely a board of directors with independent directors. So the investor can effectively rely on them for governance. Now, in smaller businesses, if the board of directors is too much, which it may be for some businesses, we should have at least an executive committee, like a liaison between the top of the business, the ownership, and the employees, for example. Now, unfortunately, what we found is that most founders stay in the attacker role. And this is unfortunately what happens a lot. We tend to see that founders, they are control obsessed. They do not really want to delegate. They think they know everything, and they do not evolve. And this is unfortunately a reason for failure. And this creates a fragile business. And fragile business, really, they don't get funded. They get forgotten. Now, in this edition, we also created an example, a real example, of a business where there was only a founder who was particularly good at selling. It was a very good attacker, shall we say, but didn't really create the right management team. And we're talking about WeWork, where we have this example of Adam Newman. He was really an incredible attacker, but he just sold the world a dream. He raised billions, but then everything really, went into chaos. And the business effectively became, with obviously almost near collapse, yeah. What's the opposite experience? We found Salesforce. Salesforce is a business now, is $250 billion business. It became actually a Dow 30 business, one of the 30 companies which is part of the Dow Jones. Now, here we got a different, totally different type of example where Mark Benioff started Salesforce as a visionary founder, but he created immediately the management team. He had a very strong CFO, Mark Hawkins, so that you could build investor confidence. Yeah. So don't forget the CFO is fundamental to build investor confidence, because investor will always want to have a dialogue with somebody who is financially intelligent. So what are the three roles of leadership? They are obviously create the attack effectively. So you start by creating the attack, then you build the midfield, and then you secure the defense. Yeah, you want to make sure that you score goals, but you don't concede that many. Now, and when you think about football, think about the fans. The fans are the customer. They're cheering for your product, for your goals. Every time they see a new product, they would like to buy that product because they see lifetime value. So effectively, with this edition, we also cover what kind of level of CFO support you need for your business. And we tend to find there are three levels. The first level, in which you have at least 50 employees, more than $20 million sales, in which you need a full-time CFO. Now, I would say that's not the rule, but that's a guidance. Level 2 is where you have between 15 and 49 employees, and where the sales are between $5 and $20 million. That's where you probably need a fractional CFO, 1 to 3 days a week, depending on circumstances. Now, level 3 is where your business still has not really achieved that kind of level of sales, is between 0.2 million and $5 million. That's where we are able, very, very happy to offer you the CFO program, with advisory and blueprint strategies. It's a fraction of the cost or a fraction of CFO effectively. So if you cannot afford a fractional CFO, or you will not need it, or you will not be able to afford it in the beginning, that's what we do. We create a CFO program for your business. So the Exponential Blueprint, this is where I'm very happy to propose a 20 video, 8 hours course for you. There's a special offer, 20% off until the 19th of July. I don't want to say what the price is because you will be surprised when you see this, but it's under $1,000. And come to me if you need any help with that, okay? But it's a part of the program that was developed for the University of Plymouth in 2017. Now, the other thing that we have created with this particular newsletter, access to podcast. So more than 16,000 people watched on YouTube this CFO CEO encounter with Sam Palazzolo from New York. It's a CEO CFO encounter. It's a breakfast meeting. It lasts 40 minutes. I highly recommend you watch this. And then we got the Expert Corner. As we introduced a few weeks ago, we have a mergers and acquisition expert who's based in Indonesia. Her name is Margaret Bowles. And this week she talks to us about the seller's fears. How do you conquer the fears of the sellers when you're trying to buy a business? How you build a report so that you can have the best possible acquisition experience when you expand your business. And here you got access to the 1 hour episode between me and Margaret, where we spoke about M&A, and particularly in Asia, because Margaret is based in Indonesia. Now, don't forget that Asia is where we're going to see most of the growth in our world GDP for the next 25, 50 years. Indonesia is projected by Goldman Sachs to become economy number 4 in the world, just behind India, China, and USA. So Indonesia will become a bigger economy than Germany, bigger economy than the UK, and other countries that are emerging are, for example, Nigeria and Egypt and Pakistan. And the area really near India is all growing as we speak. Now, coming soon, there's going to be a fantastic podcast, very extended coverage about private markets. Now, we often tend to talk so much about public markets. Everyone talks about public markets. Everyone talks about startups. Nobody talks about the middle, which is the 99% of our economy. And that's where we're going to have massive coverage, is potentially a $14 trillion opportunity for funding for small businesses around the world. And I'm going to be joined by James Arndt for the next few weeks and probably months. We're going to collaborate together on how to give access to capital markets to private companies that are really effectively forgotten by financial institution in general. So that's what we're going to come close to you. And again, that's going to be such a feature, because once you're able to absorb the content of this newsletter, how to understand, you create valuation with your business, with structure and positioning, you're going to be ready to access capital markets. So effectively, the final thought is let go or stay small. So if you scale leadership, you scale the company. That's absolutely fundamental, okay? Again, if you need help, join me. We've got a 6-week CFO program, only 12 seats until the 19th of July. Be fantastic to have you. Special offer for summer, because usually in summer, that's what we always do. We tend to really give a special offer to everyone. And that's it for this edition. I really look forward to seeing you for the next edition 29 of the Exponential Blueprint, which as ever is going to be on Wednesday and is going to be on the 23rd of July. Thank you so much for your attention. I'm very grateful for your support. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. So click the button to the right to subscribe to the channel. And I hope to see you to the next time. Thank you very much.